Alright, hello once again. Today we're here to review one of my favorite film series, Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes. And here with me, my good friends Hannah and Isaiah. Isaiah has never seen the original Planet of the Apes series. Hannah's seen the first one. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a treat here. Alright, what's your first thoughts on Planet of the Apes, the original series?
I thought it was a pretty good movie. I side with the apes for sure, because I think humans are a lousy species. Works with my ideals.
I side with no one, so shoot. It's been working in my favor now.
So you just stay out of everything. You'd be like one of the mutants, like in Beneath Planet of the Apes. Basically, like, yeah.
Do whatever you do.
I kind of side with the apes on this, because, I mean, we've been inhuman to them for thousands of years. I mean, basically, we've done everything from, you know, make them feel like hell to experiment on them and use them for makeup testing and things like that in the makeup cosmetic world. I mean, it's terrible. But, all in all, I love Planet of the Apes. I love the idea of society being turned upside down just because of an economic disaster. You know, a biological economic disaster. We lost dogs and cats to a plague. And then they just end up taking and having to get rid of all the cats and dogs, and then we domesticate apes, and then they turn on us. I mean, how would you feel if you were locked in a cage? But anyways, all in all, what do you feel about the fact of Cornelius and Zira and them trying to kill the baby, and they had an opportunity, humans had an opportunity to make this right, you know, to try to create an alliance then, but they decided, oh, we can't let this happen, you know, they're going to, you know, outnumber us and all this stuff. How do you feel? I mean, what do you think on that?
I think for the most part, most everyday humans didn't want to kill Zira or Cornelius or that baby. It was just the one scientist, Dr.
Well, it was a lot of scientists. There was a lot of government bullshit.
Yeah, basically the government was scared because they didn't want to not be in power anymore. But most humans were like, hell yeah, these guys are cool. Let's leave them alone. Bring them into our society. I don't know. I feel like the entire series is a dark commentary on how...
And none of them have a happy ending. I've noticed that. Like, none of them... Like, if you watch the first Planet of the Apes, you get... you basically have Taylor find out he's been on Earth the whole time. That basically Earth's been destroyed. I feel like that is one of the greatest cinematic reveals of all time.
Except for me, because I just knew from the beginning. I never questioned that they weren't on Earth for some reason. Very first time I watched it, I was like 5 years old, and I was like, oh, hey, they just crash landed on Earth, and monkeys took over. I never understood. Till the end, when they made a big reveal, I was like, oh, shit, that was supposed to be a secret? Oops. Kind of already knew that.
How do you feel about watching that first time and finding out that they were back on Earth?
I did that. Took me by surprise.
And I mean, and not only that, and then you go back to the other bad ending or unhappy ending of Beneath Planet of the Apes. Taylor and Brent and Nova. Basically, the whole planet is blown to a smithereen. I mean,
well, I think the most fucked up part of that was when they tried to make Brent and Taylor fight each other.
Yeah, I felt like that psychological battle was a unique twist on that. I like how the fact that the mutants, yeah, they had a physical mutation, but they also had a mental mutation, which was different in that kind of respect. And I liked the fact that they created a society that worshipped a bomb.
I'd like to have more backstory on why exactly they are mutated the way they are, and if they have children or not, and why they got psychic powers.
Well,
If
there was a lot of pre-production on that. There was a lot of pre-production that went into like what are these mutants all about? What are they looking? There was some pre-production kind of sketches and drawings of one was they had everything was disjointed. You had an ear here, an eye here, mouth here. Like they were gonna make a real
like a Picasso.
kind of like a weird mutated mutant. And Ted Post, the director for Beneath Planet Apes, didn't really like the way that looked. So he said he looked through a bunch of medical books and he found like these people who had had the epidermal layer removed, and you could see the nerves and the nerve fibers and things like that running through their face. And he thought that would be a good look, which it was. It was an amazing reveal.
I would just like more backstory within the Planet
The
of the Apes
Society
story
of the Mutants.
to see if their psychic powers were developed because they lived so long. They finally found a reason for the rest of our brain and a use for all the other connections that we have.
Right.
Or
I get that.
if the radiation that caused their skin mutation also caused the psychic powers. It would be interesting to see their society develop.
But like I said, I mean, I like the fact that they didn't really have a happy ending, nor did they have a bad ending in some ways. I felt certain things kind of ended up where they needed to be. And I mean, like, and there are like two dark parts to the saga of Planet Apes. I feel like Beneath Planet Apes is a darker portrayal, a darker film, and so is Conquest for Planet of the Apes. Much darker, much more stern looking. I mean, I feel like, and Conquest is the harder one for me to watch. I mean, I like the film, I love to watch it. It's just you have a lot of cruelty and a lot of inhuman things going on in a very inhuman world. I feel like there were so many ideas in pre-production that if they'd have moved some stuff around, they could add even more unique things going on. Because, like, I was reading somewhere about Beneath Planet of the Apes, there was supposed to be like a human ape hybrid child, like an ape and a human had mated with each other. Which I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, really and truly, at the time, that would have been a little too far. That would have went too far for the 1960s.
Well, in real life, it would still be a little too far. But in this fictional world, it'd be cool.
I mean, you got you've got very intelligent apes that are just intelligent as humans in our time period. But, I mean, how do you know? I mean, and not only that, I don't feel like the series is either bad nor good. It's a little bit of both because there are inconsistencies. I mean, like the year date that they have in the original Planet Apes was 3979, and then when you watch Escape from Planet of the Apes and they look at the chronometer for like what year they started in on the ship, it's
3955.
3955, which is that's quite a few years inconsistent.
Yeah, I wonder why they did that.
I mean, I don't think they just read that through very well. But,
maybe they just forgot.
Well, in those days, like, what you would call continuity, there were some things they let fall to the wayside, which kind of irritates me. Anyway, how did you feel about which do you think is? I want to ask this question. Which do you think was better, Brent or Taylor? Like as far as like the character.
I personally kind of prefer Brent, but I agree more with Taylor's outlook as far as
you deal with Taylor's
you might
outlook.
as well suck that shit up and get over it. Because if you keep thinking about what could be or what might be, you ain't gonna survive what's happening.
Keep giving crap to the other astronauts about, everything you knew is gone, so you might as well just
He's
accept it.
basically saying, suck that shit up before you lose track of what's going on and you die.
Exactly. Of course, I do like Brent's outlook on, you know, he's just there to rescue Taylor.
Yeah.
And, like, he just has that one agenda. I like that. That's pretty good. But I also feel like he shows more vulnerability than Taylor does. On so many moments where, like, when they get in his head and things, I think he conveys so many more emotions than Taylor did. But, all in all, we can't talk about Planet Apes without talking about Roddy McDowall, who played Cornelius. And also his son, Caesar. My hat's off to his performance because, like, he is Planet of the Apes in a lot of ways. I mean, he's like the one recurring character through all of the films, and I think he's a really good character and actor for the way he acted in the film. Did you ever feel like they went too far in any of the films? Like, was there a point when you said, "Okay, this is a little much"?
Not really, no. But it takes a lot for me to feel like something's a little much.
I mean, like, there's some points I don't think there was ever a point I think they went too far, but also I feel like they got something right past the censors at the time. Because at the time that these films were made, especially the first one, you had the Vietnam War, you had the race riots, you had tons of things going on, turmoil going on, and yet they got so many things passed through. But anyway, all in all, I mean, and also I want to tip my hat to John Chambers, who did the makeup work for Planet of the Apes, just developing a makeup prosthetic that looks as good as it did for the time period. And you have mobility and movement of the mouth and things.
They did do surprisingly well.
I mean, but like I heard, like there were conversations with Roddy McDowall and things, them saying, to wear that makeup, you had to overreact with your face. Like you actually had to over extend your mouth and your words to get the proper movement. And I think it's kind of cool. Really fun series, and I feel like it holds up better than the new films that have come out. I mean, really and truthfully, they have much more of a story to them, a backstory, a style to them. But anyway, which do you prefer, like the new stories or these?
I've only seen one of the new movies, and it was really good, but these have more background to it, because the new story just starts out with Caesar being born normally from a normal chimpanzee.
You feel like this has much more of substance,
Possibly.
Style to it?
Maybe not necessarily that, but this definitely has a lot more depth to the
overall
beginning of the story, if that's even the right way to put it. It's almost two entirely different stories at this point, because they start at such different places. And the Rise of the Planet of the Apes,
I feel like it's like a loop in a lot of ways, like a loop.
Kind of, but
it's a loop. It's a time loop, but there's inconsistencies in every loop in time.
The new one just doesn't have the same stuff this one does. But this one also doesn't have a lot of the same stuff the new one does.
True.
They are almost two totally different movies at this point.
But in closing, I'm gonna wrap this up here. Love Planet of the Apes. Been in love with it since I was a kid. One of the first makeup prosthetics I actually made, or like sculptures I actually made, was of Roddy McDowall as Cornelius. But all in all, great film, and I hope you watch this review. Make comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you around. Thank you for watching Monster Review with Rev.